feel that that level of inconsistency at that level of a CBN governor is a major issue for them? What would you say to them? Because some people have expectation that if the CBN says this amount of money is missing, then it should be that amount of money, incontrovertible.
Well, you see, people make such argument, forget the dynamics of the economy and the dynamics of finance. Now, crude oil is produced on a daily basis, is sold on a daily basis. So, and if you look at even the national accounts, let me take you to the national accounts now. You have the current account and you have the capital account. Now, in your current account, you have the trade. Now, the trade is what records what you sell and what you buy. Okay? And this happens on a daily basis. So the figure I'm looking at today essentially could be different than the figure we're looking at tomorrow. So the changes in there will reflect what I sell and collect payments for and what I also buy, which I pay for. So the net is what will determine whether there's an accretion to what I already have or not. So the figure can actually change in reality. But the point is that even in the process when this, argument and recrimination started, there was the point made, we are undergoing the process of reconciliation. And so when you do reconciliation accounting, it only means that you bring all the records together and now see which ones tally with each other. Okay, this is a contra entry to this. Let's check it. We have no problem with that. So you begin to knock out items one after the other. Or you now have what we call unreconcilable items. Now, it is those unreconcilable items that the CBN at any point in time will bring forward. That for this portion, we don't yet have an explanation. And there is still another side to this matter, and that is, if I claim, for example, that I spent so much repairing damaged pipelines, okay? Now, all any analyst would do is to take that figure you mentioned to me, which is in dollars now, and convert to naira. And then ask myself, the regular contract for pipeline repairs from contractors who are involved, if we sum this up and convert to dollars, how does it compare with the figure you presented to me? So that will again tell me that, look, there's some leakage in that regard. So now the issues involved are such that it's not a matter of what the figure was at the beginning and what it is today. But the reality is, you probe first and foremost what the figure is as at today, then the claims as to what the money was done with, we also probe that. Now, if we begin to check, we see that yes, what will appear to be inconsistency really is not inconsistency. It's a matter of the dynamics of the finances.
It will be good to come back to you on the issue of the mandate, because I raised this with the previous guests that we had, the mandate of the CBN and whether the CBN governor that's just been suspended has achieved any of those mandates or not. But before we talk about that, let me ask you, Abiodun, in terms of the decision, would you say that there is a serious link between the decision to remove the CBN governor or to suspend the CBN governor and his whistleblowing as it is now tagged?
Yeah, that's the way many people are seeing it.
How do you see it?
The way I see it is quite very clear. Look, it is only the CBN has a board. There is no way in law that the president can suspend, the governor of central bank, except there is another motive. It is only the board of CBN that can constitute a disciplinary committee. Yes, some people argue Sanusi is the chairman of the board, but he has to recluse himself in that situation because it is the board of CBN that has the legal mandate to regulate and administrate, and manage all the affairs of CBN. And therefore, it's just like a university. You cannot have the vice chancellor of a university just being suspended like that, or a lecturer be suspended by the visitor, by the president or the governor. The governing council will have to carry out those functions, and that is where the suspension itself is deemed illegal by many, including myself. But
so in terms of illegal?
I think there's no basis for it in law. Where the presidency is hiding is under section 11 subsection C, that it is arguable, look, the president has the powers, to remove, the governor of central bank. But then it was not expressly stated. It's subject to a lot of interpretations.
Okay,
because they saw that latitude. That is where they lashed on.
Okay.
But in terms of the motive for it, it is clear. If, for instance, Dezani Alice Madueke, who has, she's been accused of flying helicopters, to the tune of 2 billion naira within Nigeria, and she has not been suspended. There are so many billions missing within that ministry, not suspended. NNPC till today has not been able to account, even to tell us how many, the volume of petrol being pumped on a daily basis, not suspended. This crisis is happening simply because NNPC. This crisis is happening simply because NNPC cannot account adequately, for revenue collected. That is why this crisis is happening to start with. Alice Madueke not suspended. We had oil fuel subsidy scam under her watch. Alice Madueke not suspended, still in office. We had the Stella Odua's Gates scandal. She was never suspended. So you begin to ask yourself, why would you suspend a whistleblower? Because that is what Sanusi is. Sanusi blew the whistle to say, look, $20 billion is missing. It's quite clear what happened. It came out with a figure of 48 billion, and then the presidency said, go and reconcile. They went to reconcile it. They came out with new figures, and they gave him some documents. The man went back, checked the documents out, and then realized that we need to change the figures.
We need to start winding down now. So in closing, because we're looking at the nation now, in light of what you both have said, do you think we're managing our economy properly, managing our resources, and we're being as accountable as we might be?
One sentence or two maximum, because we have to close right away.
We are not managing it effectively. And I'll put it this way. We have a very sound economic management team, but most of the decisions being made by this current administration are economically illiterate.
Okay.
Yeah, so in my view, I think the problem is accountability and transparency. It's the attempt to now ensure transparency that is throwing up a lot of issues. So we are not managing the economy very well.
Okay, thank you very much. On that note, I'll have to say thank you to Dr. Abiodun Adedipe, an economist and financial analyst. Thank you very much. And Abiodun Shomi, a social commentator and political commentator as well. Thank you very much for your contribution.
It's my pleasure.
So as we wrap up that segment, we will have to bring you our usual focus on the economy. This week saw a not too palatable exit from office of the Central Bank Governor Lamido Sanusi 3 months to the end of his tenure. A statement from the presidency described Mr. Sanusi's tenure as being characterized by various acts of financial recklessness and misconduct, inconsistent with the administration's vision of a central bank propelled by the core values of focused economic management, prudence, transparency, and financial discipline. On our focus on the economy, our business correspondent Chimeze Obiwagu takes a look at the man Sanusi and his 5-year stint in office. Take a look at this report.
Inflation remains a hydra-headed monster. This is one of the greatest challenges that we're going to face.
Love him or hate him, but some have described him as a non-conformist, a very independent-minded person, and a man with very strong convictions. These strong convictions he exhibited didn't wane after his appointment into the office of the CBN governor. They drove his style of governance through the 5 years. Mr. Sanusi believes that he has succeeded in achieving a single-digit inflation rate and a stable exchange rate, amongst other achievements.
People want a stable exchange rate, they want to have reserves, they want to have low inflation, and they want to have low interest rates. I'm not a magician.
Are there no countries where inflation is at less than 2% and lending rates to the real sector is at less than 4 or 5%? Are those magicians?
Having assumed office as the central bank governor on the 3rd of June 2009, Mr. Sanusi sanitized the banking system, and that earned him the Central Bank Governor of the Year 2010 by the Bankers Committee, an award he has also received internationally.
he really did a lot in the banking sector, particularly when it comes to redressing the imbalances in the banking sector, especially